Hello everybody, my name is Gingerkin and today I'm going to be bringing you a solo Tempoross guide. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a solo run on how I solo Tempoross. Now there are a couple different ways to solo Tempoross, but for me this is the easiest. It also gives you 9 points per game, sometimes even 10 points per game, and as long as you're semi paying attention, you're not going to die or lose your run. The only requirement for Tempoross is 35 fishing and a way to get here. The quickest and most efficient way to get here is the ferry in Al Kharid. You can get to Al Kharid by using a Amulet of Glory, or if you're an early level Iron Man, you can home teleport, pay the tollgate fee, and then walk to the ferry, and that'll take you to Tempoross. The item requirements for Tempoross is a harpoon, a rope, a hammer, and 6 buckets of water. If you don't have these items yet, you can just start a solo Tempoross, grab the items that you need, and then forfeit the game. Now we are ready to start our solo Tempoross. Now that we started our game, the first thing you're going to want to do is pick a fishing spot and catch 8 harpoon fish. Once you catch 8 harpoon fish, you are then going to go to the oven and start cooking them. I have my inventory set up this way for a reason. It helps you out a couple times throughout solo Tempoross, but the first one is it shows you pretty easily when you get your first 8 harpoon fish. It fills up the first 2 rows. Just need 1 more harpoon fish, and there's 8 harpoon fish. Now what we're going to do is keep cooking these fish until a double harpoon fishing spot shows up. If you are using RuneLite, I highly recommend downloading the Tempoross plugin and checking the highlight double fishing spot option. Because if you do so, you can see this fishing spot now has a circle timer in the middle, tells you how long it's a double fishing spot. If you don't have RuneLite, it'll just have the fish animation jumping out of the water. So you're going to keep fishing this spot until 14, 15, or 16 intensity. That's when the first storm comes. You can see also with the Tempoross plugin, it highlights the pole and also gives you the timer in the middle. If you're not using RuneLite, then you still get the text chat notification saying that a colossal wave is coming. And then the screen will start to turn blue as well. Just make sure you get to the pole in time. After your first wave, go back to cooking fish if you had a full inventory. Even if you didn't get a full inventory, go back to cooking fish until a double fishing spot shows up, just like it did in the bottom. Then I would go to that and get as many fish as you can from it. At 30 intensity, as you guys can see, the next event happens, and it is the strong wind. It'll blow some clouds over to here. Make sure that you douse out all the fires. If you don't, you can see the timer in the middle. Those are going to start to spread and just take over the map. Now, as long as you have some decent RNG, after the strong wind shows up, you should have the first 4 rows of the harpoon fish filled up, caught and cooked. What you're going to do is load up the cannons with the first 4 rows. You do not want to go into the bottom row, which is also why I have this inventory set up this way. It's just a nice visual reminder to stop after that 4th row. Stopping after that 4th row will bring Tempoross down to 10 energy, which means he'll stop doing the random events like the strong wind or the colossal wave. And this is what makes solo Tempoross so nice, is that, like I said, after that 10 energy, he's going to stop doing his attacks. It makes it way more AFK, a lot more enjoyable, and this is what allows you to get 9 points per game. So it's really nice. At this point, we're going to keep cooking up our harpoon fish. We're going to keep finding those double fishing spots and fishing them whenever we can, while paying attention to the storm intensity. Now, the storm intensity is really important because if Tempoross gets to 100%, it'll end the game and you'll have to restart. You lose all your points. You get to keep your XP, but basically you're doing this for nothing. What I like to do to make sure that this doesn't happen is that at 90% storm intensity, no matter where I'm at, I'm going to go back up to the boat and bring him down to 0 energy. The goal is to have as many cooked harpoon fish in your inventory as possible before 90 storm intensity. So as you can see here, it's getting pretty close to it. And now that it's 90, I'm going to go up there, even though not everything is cooked and I don't have a full inventory. Just so that the game doesn't end, I'm going to put in what I can. Now, if you had a full inventory of cooked harpoon fish at this point, I wouldn't recommend putting them all in right now. I would probably just do like 8 to 10 max and then come down here to start doing damage to Tempoross. As you can see, his energy bar is slowly filling up. It's going to go back up to 100%. What you want to do is do as much damage as you possibly can in this first phase. The goal in phase 1 is to get him down to at least 60% essence. You can go down to as low as 40, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference, just as long as you get him down to at least into the 50s on the first phase. If you don't, then it makes the last two phases a lot harder. As you can see, we got him down to 53. There's still some energy left. We could have gotten him lower, but it doesn't really matter. What we're going to do now is just pretty much rinse and repeat. So we're going to catch up as many harpoon fish as we can. We are going to cook them up. We're going to feed the cannons, get it down to 10% energy again. Watch out for the colossal wave and the strong winds. Then just keep going. I'm going to do some fast forwarding just so that the video length doesn't go on for forever. But I will be back once the next important thing happens. So the next notable thing is that on phase 2 here, we want Tempoross's energy to be down to 10%. And before we get to 90% storm intensity, we want a fully cooked inventory of harpoon fish. Now, you're not going to lose the game if you don't have a fully cooked inventory, but it allows you to pretty much fully AFK the last phase of Tempoross. As you guys can see, we did get the fully cooked inventory of harpoon fish. I would say probably 80 to 85% of my games, I get the fully cooked inventory. I'm like mid 60s fishing right now. And then as your fishing level increases, it becomes a lot more consistent to get the full inventory. What we're going to do is dump the entire inventory into the cannon. And now we are going to damage Tempoross again as much as we possibly can. Here's where I was talking about earlier that the more damage you do in the first phase, the less you'll be forced to do in the second phase. But again, as long as you get them down to below 60% into the 50s, you should be okay. In this game, I cut it a little close, but again, I've never failed doing this method. But the goal is to get him down into the teens, or even lower if you want. Just don't get him down to 0% because you want the third phase. I would say after 3 or 4 times of doing this method, I could pretty much just turn my brain off, if I'm being honest. Watch a movie, Twitch, YouTube, whatever you want to do. Especially if you get that fully cooked inventory during the second phase, because as you can see, he was down to 10% energy. So I'm not going to get any waves, I'm not going to get any storms. I'm just going to get a fully cooked inventory of harpoon fish, put it into the cannon, and then kill Tempoross on the third phase. And like I said earlier in the video, this is pretty much a guaranteed 9-point game. There's probably been 1 or 2 games out of the 40 to 45 solos that I've done that I got 8 points. And there's actually a handful of games where I've gotten 10. So I would say you're pretty much guaranteed to average 9 points per game. These games usually take about 10.5 minutes to do. So you're able to do about 5.5 games per hour. So it's a good amount of points. I'm going to fast forward the rest of this video. All we have to do is just finish cooking up this inventory, load the cannon, and then deal the last little bit of damage left to Tempoross. Let me know if you guys want to see more kinds of videos like this. This is the first real guide that I've done, so give me some feedback in the comments, like the video, subscribe if you guys want to see more. Until next time, peace.